When learning mathematics, don't treat your learning like an exam. And what I mean by this is when you're learning mathematics in your classroom, during your private study or whatever, you're not in an exam. You're in a completely different set of circumstances. But in my experience, there's a very great tendency for people to try to jump straight into doing past papers or past paper questions. And just after learning some new technique like integration, maybe, they try to do exam style problems. And even worse, they try to do them under exam conditions without notes and under strict time limits. Well, if you want to give yourself the best chances of learning the material of your course, don't do this, because you won't learn properly if you do these things. You need to allow time for these skills and techniques to assimilate properly. And this may take several days, several weeks, and possibly even several months, depending on what the technique is. Exams are written for people who are at the end of their course. In theory, the people sitting the exam will have a complete knowledge of the contents of the course for which that exam was written. Now, of course, in reality, many people go into an exam with only a partial knowledge of the contents of the course, but nevertheless, the contents of the course have been fully delivered. If you go into the exam with only partial knowledge, that is not really the fault of the individuals delivering the contents of the course. That's really your fault for not learning the contents of the course. So it's really something that you have to personally rectify. And of course, you might say, I don't have several weeks to assimilate these new techniques that I'm learning about because my exam's in 2 days or it's next week. Unlucky. Maybe next time, don't leave it until the last minute and give yourself plenty of time to learn this stuff. Unfortunately, some lessons have to be learned the hard way. But your understanding of certain techniques will and needs to gradually develop throughout the course. Just because you've completed the, let's say, differentiation chapter in your A-level maths textbook, for example, you still have much to learn about differentiation, and subsequent material, such as integration, geometry, whatever it is that you do, will feed into your understanding of differentiation and further develop your understanding of differentiation. You need to encounter these techniques that you learn about in a variety of challenging problems for you to develop a thorough enough understanding of that particular concept. And this takes time, and it takes as long as it takes. But rest assured that if you do put the time in and you do put the effort in, then you will make progress. Might not necessarily be as quick. The progress might not necessarily be as quick as you hope it to be or as fast as you hope it to be, but you will make progress. But until you've completed the course, you're not exam ready. And that's not to suggest that you shouldn't attempt to solve problems from past papers, because I think past paper problems are as good as, if not better than, the problems that you will typically encounter in your textbooks, for example. But you mustn't be thrashing yourself trying to do these under exam conditions right away, because you're just not ready for that yet. It would be utter madness for someone to expect that after starting to learn a foreign language, maybe a couple of weeks after starting to learn a foreign language from scratch, that you would be able to have in-depth conversations with native speakers of that foreign language. Or let's say you've learned to play tennis and you've had a couple of training sessions, that you should expect to be able to go into national level tournaments or something like this. It goes without saying that these skills, language learning, learning to play tennis or whatever, take time to learn, and everybody accepts this. But for some reason, when it comes to learning mathematics, people seem to ignore this or seem to think that these rules don't apply anymore. My advice to you is to forget about your final exams and just concentrate on learning mathematics until the exams are maybe, a month or so away. Take your time when solving problems. Don't worry about how quickly you're solving them. Speed and confidence will naturally develop. But if you try to force yourself to go too quickly and push yourself too much too soon, in an effort to speed up your learning, you'll have the exact opposite effect. You'll slow your learning right down to a snail's pace. So I'm going to be gradually uploading more maths exam hack videos to this YouTube channel. If you have anything that you'd like to add or anything that you'd like to ask, then please leave a comment in the comments section. But see you next time.